All right, going to give a short history of the internet and the garage gym, which coincide almost directly. As far as I'm concerned, garage gym Iron Page is what did create the internet. I think Al Gore did that, but we certainly made the internet into what it is today. Just random little short stories as they occur to me. I'm driving home from work right now, and there'll be several of these probably because ain't nobody gonna watch no 20-minute video. I certainly wouldn't watch one. So the garage gym Iron Page officially started in 1997. My mother gave me some web space. This is back when you had dial-up modems, handshakes and all that kind of stuff. She gave me some web space on a internet provider that she was doing some contract work for, and that was back when you could basically create a website kind of like you do on word processing off of Netscape. So I did that. I created a website. Didn't know what to call it, but I had been working out of my garage. I'd had made a gym, got a power rack, and just different stuff like that in the garage. I was renting actually in a little old country place, and so I thought, well, I got a garage, I got a gym in the garage. It's called a garage gym Iron Page, and that's how it got started. And the rest is history. I had been, prior to opening the garage gym Iron Page, I'd been participating on some internet message boards. Back in that time, you had Usenet, and you had that miscellaneous fitness weights that I think that Lyle McDonald kind of ran and ran people off on a pretty regular basis, because that place was insane. And then you had all these little sort of pop-up message boards, and they were pretty much as an outfit called Inside the Web that was doing these message boards. You could open them for free, and then you could I think they put little advertisements up top and whatever, but just kind of a very simple easily moderated sort of message board. And so I'd been participating in those, and there was probably 2 or 3 that I remember participating on. One was a guy, it was called Jay's Bodybuilding, which is, my first name is Jay. That's how come I'm now Trig, and I'm Trig to everybody, including my wife, because of that, because I didn't want to open up, Jay's Bodybuilding board and it'd be confused with, this other guy's bodybuilding board. So I became Trig, which is my last name, obviously. And, forever, you can blame it on Jay's Bodybuilding board. And then there was a heavy-duty Mike Menser-oriented message board. I can't remember the name of it. And I participated on those 2. And, man, I'll tell you, all that anybody knew back, there's probably people who do stuff, but most people didn't know anything. And we were all, reveling in our ignorance. And, basically pushing, there weren't a whole lot of articles, there wasn't a whole lot of internet, there's a lot of, what you call, I guess, user-generated content, but all that stuff you see on the internet today, it wasn't there. You had, a few simple articles, you had a few simple websites, you had, a couple specialty places, getbig.com, and, a few little places that don't even exist anymore, that were kind of pushing, some things. But for the most part, it was like the Wild West. It was free and open, and anybody could be anybody. And, I come into the thing just as dumb and ignorant as anybody, thinking I was smart. I remember first getting on, there was a guy it was the Temple Gym, message board or whatever it was. It was a heavy duty, or high intensity training oriented website. Now, Temple Gym was the gym that Dorian Yates worked out in, or was associated with, whatever, in England. So I see Temple Gym, message board or whatever, and I immediately believe that that's Dorian Yates' gym. I think, well, hey man, they got a freaking message board. I'll participate, I'll talk to Dorian, And, I didn't realize that. It's just some kind of, it could be anything, and it took me, not a whole lot of time, but it took me some time, actual measurable amount of time to figure out that, what, people on the internet can lie to you, so, and they did, they lied to me a lot, and they lied to a lot of other people, and that's a whole different story, but, so there you go. That's how it got its start. So we got this little message board going, and eventually this little website, and, everybody's kind of perpetrating the same crime. They're just passing the magazine stuff around back and forth, but that's where it came from. There's a lot of interesting people, from the very beginning of the garage gym that are still around, and some of them have some prominence now. Of course, you got Dan Martin was and there in the beginning. Brooks Kubik, he kind of had his own thing. He didn't, we didn't create him by any means, but he was certainly an early participant in the garage gym. Of course, Dr. Ken. Of course, Larry. Was a participant there later on in the time. And of course, the whole Dave Draper thing was obviously not created by Garage Gym, but she was certainly there in a certain formative part of it. You had Fred Hatfield's son, Fred too. You had a lot of people. You had Jim Bryan, who was worked extensively with and around Arthur Jones. You had Steve Baldwin. I think I mentioned him in the last little video I did about Dr. Ken. Very high level, very high respected power lifter and personal training guy, guru, top notch guy. You had Dave Maurice. This is before he did I think he went to the hard gainer deal. So you had a bunch of people that were out there. What's that guy's name? John Christie, I think, participated. Bob Whalen participated. Naturalstrength.com. There's a bunch of people that were there, and they were kind of these people who were making it happen. Doing it from the very beginning. So I'll get into some of the garage gym antics, because there's plenty of antics here in another couple of, maybe the next video or two. But I will start out with telling you that if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, and I'm sure that if I'm wrong, that somebody will be even wronger in their explanation of what really happened. But Dan Martin is... he's the very first moderator of the garage gym, and I'll get into that reason why maybe another time. But Dan Martin is the reason the World's Strongest Man contest is as great as it is today, because if I remember correctly, Dan Martin's the one that inspired directly Randall Strawson to develop the Apollon's Axle thick bar. Nobody was doing that. Nobody was doing anything that you call a thick bar lift with any sort of regularity at all. And it seems to me that Dan Martin is the one who approached Strawson, probably through, mailing or some sort of a conversation or whatever, and encouraged him to do it, and Strawson did it. And he used to give Dan Martin credit for that on the website. I don't know if he still does or not. I haven't been to Iron Mind's website in probably 8 or 10 years, but if you want to see, you want to congratulate Dan for, making the World's Strongest Man contest about lifting instead of running around with refrigerators and lifting up washing machines with a rope, then there's your man right there, and he gets zero credit for it. Everybody ought to send him $1. Everybody who watched this video, all 20 of you, ought to send Dan Martin $1. For making the World's Strongest Man contest what it is today. More later as I think about it, and make it sound good for me and me not be the guilty party, and change the stories around a little bit to a more positive note. I'll get back with y'all.